In July of 2014, Florida State law professor Dan Markel was murdered in his Tallahassee driveway, shot execution style in the middle of a bitter custody battle following his divorce from Wendy Adelson. Prosecutors say that Wendy's mother, Donna Adelson, the matriarch of a powerful South Florida family, became the architect of a deadly conspiracy. Emails and surveillance revealed Donna's obsession with relocating Wendy and her two young sons to Miami, framing Markel as the obstacle to their family's happiness. She allegedly enlisted her son Charlie, who recruited intermediary Catherine McBanoa to hire hitmen. Now, over a decade later, Donna Adelson, 75 years old, is on trial facing charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy, and solicitation, accused of orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot born of custody and control. Wendy denies involvement and has not been charged. And tonight, we are live from Tallahassee with all the latest evidence from inside the courtroom, including secretly recorded conversations. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And there's a little bit of a saying that I use. I don't know if anyone else uses, but they don't catch the smart ones, right? When you talk about crimes. If someone commits a perfect crime, you're not going to see it on court TV because they don't get caught. So the ones who get caught are the ones that aren't quite there. So let's talk about intelligence and the different types of intelligence. Well, you could be book smart, right? This is someone, maybe you do really good on tests and you're educated, you went to school, maybe went to graduate school, went to the university, whatever, you're kind of book smart, you put something down, you can learn it, you can remember it, maybe memorize it, and you're real good at that. And there's a lot of people in society who are book smart. Then there are people who are street smart. These are people who have good intuition. They can read other people. They can tell when something wrong is happening. Maybe they're not formally educated, but they get it. They get it, right? They're kind of slick and they figure out a way to get by and do well because of their street smarts. Just as something that they're born with and they kind of use it in their day-to-day life, right? Let's talk about Charlie Adelson. This guy was a dentist and a wannabe tough guy. So dentist, book smart. You don't become a dentist if you're not book smart. But I think he thought he was really street smart because he was a single guy with a lot of money, red sports car, hanging out in the nightclubs in South Florida, dating all those hot young women, right? And hanging out and sort of brushing up with some of the tough guys that might be in the neighborhood, might be at the same nightclubs as him. And that's who he was, right? That's the way it's been described to me. Charlie Adelson before all of this. Dentist, wannabe tough guy. Then there's his mom, Donna Adelson. Well, she's a grandma, right? We know that. But I really see her as a wannabe Don. Like the Don of a family, right? Someone who, pulls all those strings and controls everyone, but is very insulated from all of it because I'm so smart, I'll never get caught. That's the way I see her, and I think that's the picture prosecutors are attempting to paint inside of the courtroom of Donna Adelson, that she is, she looks like a grandma in this picture, right? But she's really like a wannabe Don running the family business. Whatever it is. Yeah, I know Harvey's in there putting on the veneers and filling and putting in fillings and doing root canals, right? He's making the money, but she's the real brains of the operation. She controls everything. That's the way I see her, and I think prosecutors are trying to paint that picture for this jury. So today, as pretty much every day in this prosecution, because it's a lot of stuff each day, big day in the courtroom. So let's go to Court TV anchor Julie Janae joining us from Tallahassee, Florida. Julie Janae, great to see you. You are both book smart and you've got the street smarts. We know that about Julie Janae. She can read people and, cut through all the malarkey. Big day today, but what was the biggest moment of this big day today?
Well, the biggest moment for me today was Donna on the phone with the cops. And she didn't know for sure if they were the cops, but she was using this mix of perhaps her book smart and her wannabe street smart to get this conversation going. This was probably the most crisp sound, clearly speaking tones of all of those wiretap calls that we heard inside of the courtroom. And it's probably because everyone on this phone call, the two people, were both playing their part, if you're going to believe what the prosecution says about Donna. So to set the scene for this call, it is 2016. Dan Markel's murder from 2014 remains unsolved. No one has been arrested, but police suspect the Adelsons, but they don't really have enough hard evidence against the Adelsons. So they send an undercover agent. First, they tap their phones so they know they can hear any communications they have after this. And that undercover agent approaches Donna, tells her he's a gang member who knows the hitman who killed Dan Markel, and he wants money or else he's going to go to the police. That's the insinuation, and he gives her a phone number. Now, Donna doesn't call right away. She spends a lot of time talking on the phone with her son, Charlie, about who it might be, what they should do. They talk in code on the phone, so it seems like they know they might be under surveillance. So finally, the big moment, Donna makes the phone call back to the gang member, who again is that undercover agent.
Hello?
This is Mrs. Adelson. Is this, Sammy? Okay, my grandchildren had my phone before, so,
Senora Adelson?
I'm Mrs. Adelson.
Yes.
My grandchildren had my phone before, so and I just saw that you called.
Oh, okay. You left a message on my voicemail.
Right, I did.
Yes.
This is my problem. You approached me on Alton Road. You handed me an article from the newspaper about my ex-son-in-law. You told me I need to call you and help your friend who is in prison. Now, at the time you did that, I didn't understand what you were talking about. I didn't call you back. Then you mail me a threatening letter. Then you send me a text message to my phone that says I'm not taking you seriously. So I am taking you seriously. And I really want you to listen to me. I have to tell you, I mean, this is important. I have been so stressed out. I have spoken to 10 or 12 people who are close friends of mine, telling them about this and basically picking their brains and asking them what I should do, because I don't know your friend who is in jail. You mentioned a name. I don't even know his name. I never spoke to him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never met him. I'm sorry your friend's in jail, but I don't know what that has to do with me.
You know exactly what it has to do with. You know exactly what. Listen to me carefully. Listen to me. You just got to listen to me.
You need to ask your friend who this person looks like, or what their name is, something, because I know there's a big reward out there, and if you need money for your friends, that's the way to get it. I mean, I'm asking you nicely. I don't know who he is. I am out of the loop. It is not me. If I can help, I would help. I mean, that's what
just like I told you. Listen to me. Just like I told you that day, we know that your family had a problem up north. We know that problem was taken care of about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and we know that Katie has been taken care of. And has been taken care of. Now my brother in jail, we were in Broward together. He told me the whole thing, and he hasn't been taken care of. You know. Now, all that's being asked for is $5K. That's all we're asking for is $5K. And he told me everything, and I know everything. I know who's involved. I know everything, and I'll get the $100K for myself.
You know,
all I ask is to send the $5K. Everybody knows what's going on.
I don't, you're saying everyone knows. I know I lost my ex-son-in-law. I did not have anything to do with it. That's why I said, ask him what.
That's what my brother Tato told me. He told me everything when we were in jail. He told me everything and who was involved. I know everything.
Well, I don't. That's the problem. I am telling you, it's not me. It's not me. I have had a year of aggravation, a year and a half of aggravation over this. My daughter, my grandchildren. It is not me. And when I asked my friends, what do they think? They said, well, this person needs to get a description of you because of what you look like, or it's not me. I don't know who caused this. It wasn't me. I mean, I don't know.
I'll tell you, just like that day when I talked to you, this is not going away. This is not going to go away because Tato told me everything. He wasn't being taken care of. He needed the 5K. Send 5K. That's all we were asking for. Don't do that.
I don't know who Tato is. You don't understand.
We know you don't know who Tato is, but you know who Katie is. And you know the contacts Katie has. And she has, listen to me, let's stop around. Let's stop around. Okay? You know who Katie is. And you know that Katie has somebody that knows Tato. And they took care of a problem for you people. That's just the bottom line. The bottom line is you know who the Katie is.
Look,
I'm no more than Mr. No, I'm not with you. You know who Katie is. You know that they took care of Katie and her people. Nobody's taking care of Tato. I know you don't know who Tato is.
No, I don't think so.
But we know who all of you are. And this ain't going away.
You know what?
So I can give you you want then the 5K?
Here's what you need to do. You need to go and...
Don't tell me what to do. I know what to do and I'm doing it.
You're looking for money. Get $100,000 or whatever whatever the reward is. It isn't me. You have got the wrong person. That's why I said ask your friends.
You're Donna Adelson.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Well, I know. We know who's involved in all this.
This is not making any sense. I mean, if you want the money, you should get it from the police. They can give you a whole lot more than you're asking me for money for someone. I can't do this. I have had too much stress and too much aggravation from this, and I don't know what you are talking about. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Good. I think you should talk to Katie. Talk to people that are involved in this. You'll know. You know what's going on.
I do not. That's why I'm...
You tell me... Adelson, you can tell me all you want, but I know you know. Because I know, because I heard, when I was locked up in Broward with my brother Tato, he told me everything. Everything. He told me everything.
Well, then
I just wanted to take care of him because Katie was being taken care of with her Uto.
I just think instead of asking me, you should get the money from the police. There's a lot of money out there, and I know if you think you know who this is, then go ahead and do it, because I know it isn't me. I know it isn't me. And I can't take this kind of level of stress. I just can't. I know I didn't do anything.
Talk to people, you talk to the right people, you talk to people, you make this 5K come to me. That's all I need. Just do it and get it to me. Do it and get it to me.
I'll call you back.
And by the way, Donna Adelson was recording this entire phone call on her phone with an app that she downloaded just for this. And Vinny, she's repeatedly there talking about this reward. She's daring them to go to police. She doesn't know if this is a gang member with real information or if this is the police, but either way, the prosecution made sure that the jury understood she called their bluff. The defense may be trying to paint her as someone innocent, someone who's this grandmother who's timid, but clearly the way that she's able to sound like someone who is completely innocent and not knowledgeable of anything shows this jury that she can turn it on and she can turn it off.
And the other thing is, like, there was a murder. She doesn't seem scared. There's no fear. She doesn't reach out to police. She's not fearful for the kids. That there's a lot here that is not doesn't ring of innocence for her. I think the jury's not going to like it. Speaking of the jury, what else did they see and hear today?
Oh, they heard a lot today, a lot to take in. They looked a little worn by the end of the day, but still attentive, still paying attention. Some of them had their headphones on or off when they're listening to all these wiretaps. But they also saw a lot. They saw how sprawling this investigation was. There were photographs that they were able to see, and so they could understand just what was going on with police and the Adelson family. Here's Donna going to Charlie after the bump. She specifically goes to a place where the prosecution says they believe no one is going to be recording them, out near a marina, near water, and there is no recording of this talk because they were so far away, but police were able to get a photo. They also grabbed photos of Charlie Adelson with Catherine McBanawa and their on-again, off-again relationship. She was their connect to the hitmen. And by the way, at this time, they do have one of the hitmen, Luis Rivera, behind bars on other charges, but the Adelsons don't really know that. And there's also the video and surveillance that they got inside of a restaurant. Now, this has surprised a lot of people that this is the kind of surveillance that was going on. At one point, there's a hidden camera inside of a mesh bag. You can see it, and you can barely hear what's going on. It's Harvey talking to his son, Charlie, and there's even one point where Charlie Adelson acknowledges that I think that's an undercover agent over there. I think they have a camera in the bag, but they don't have anything on us. So this family, I mean, they really kind of laughed in the face of investigators during this time because it would be another 6 years before one of the Adelsons, Charlie being this first one, who was arrested and then later, 7 years later, convicted.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. You know, another 6 years that it takes. They're going free this whole time. They may very well think that there's never going to be charges. They can't touch us. They can't touch us. All right. I'm on social media today, Julia, and like I'm seeing post after post after post all about Donna's headphones. What was going on with Donna's headphones inside the courtroom?
Okay, she is wearing first normal, smaller headphones that she listens to what's happening in court. But then during these calls, they had separate headphones. So they're the earmuff style that you see a ridged side that goes on your ears. But people were noticing that it seemed like the ridged side was turned outward, that she didn't know how to use these headphones, couldn't hear perhaps if one is turned to the outside. So that caught a lot of people's attention. I don't know about Donna's hearing. We know that in some pretrial hearings, she's taken the stand and complained to the court that in jail she's struggling because she has extremely small ear canals and that she can't hear very well. So another thing I've really noticed is that the judge has made sure that when she is there without the headphones, that he instructs her or gives her the advice to put her headphones back on. And I wonder if this is because he wants to make sure that on appeal, she doesn't try to claim that she didn't hear some of the evidence that's coming out against her. There he is telling her, because she had everything off right before we were about to hear some really important testimony, and she slowly puts everything back on. Another thing I noticed today, her husband Harvey always waits until the end of the day to share a loving look with her. She turns around and looks at him, smiles, and that's how they end the court day. He's also taking a lot of notes on a legal pad that he's holding there on the front seat, Vinny.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's taking, well, I was going to say something about Vietnam there because, you know, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hold back on that thought that I had. I don't think it would be.
He's here, though.
Yeah.
He's here. People think that he was here for his son's trial sometimes, but they did not show for this trial. So it says a lot that instead of waiting in Miami to see what happens with his wife's trial, he is here.
All right. Julie Janae at the courthouse. Thank you so much. All right, folks. We've got a lot more to get to. We're going to bring the think tank. We're going to listen to Charlie Adelson call the Undercover. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, baby Emmanuel Haro was reported abducted by his parents, but then they were arrested for his murder. And now, Emmanuel's father speaking from behind bars for the first time. What is he saying? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
When the queen come through, y'all better move back.
Cardi B is back in the courtroom, facing civil allegations for allegedly attacking a security guard.
The Cardi B assault trial. Coverage continues Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Good morning. Thank you for calling my Adelson's office. This is Erica. Can you help you?
Yes, good morning. May I speak to Donna, Mrs. Donna Adelson?
May I let her know who's calling?
Sammy?
Sammy from...
I met her last week and I gave her some paperwork.
Okay. That was the Undercover calling Donna's office, the Adelson Institute down there in South Florida. Remember in the opening statement that the prosecutor described this conspiracy, this murder for hire conspiracy, as sort of like a train with different cars, but some aren't directly connected to each other, to another one, but they are all connected to each other. That's kind of what's going to happen here as I play you some of what was played inside the courtroom today. And say, it's a game of telephone tag. So here the Undercover calls Donna's office, leaves a message. Donna then calls her son Charlie. Charlie calls Catherine McBanawa. Then Charlie calls Donna again. And then finally, Charlie calls the undercover agent. Let's take a listen to the series of these calls in this game of telephone tag.
Erica called me this morning, and the dad is on the road. The officer, Erica called me, and she said, she doesn't normally bother you with this. She says, I don't think dad called or what, but somebody called this morning. He said his name was Sammy, and he gave you some very important papers last week, and he hasn't heard from you. And he wants you to call him back, and here's the number. So,
okay, let me call somebody.
yeah.
And I wouldn't want to trust her at that. I wouldn't worry at all.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll tell you why, especially because, what do you call it? Especially because I know you know who it is. So let me call someone and take care of it now, okay?
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Erica said a guy by the name of Sandy called me office this morning saying that I let some people work with Dr. Adelson last week, and I left a number on there, and he needs to call me at that number.
No, somebody had believe me wrong.
Well, this is the third. This is the third.
Call the number. Call the number. They don't want to call my phone.
I have a strong feeling what I think it is. Okay. I think it may be either some private investigator, or I think it's the FBI, or somebody just trying to fish around and stir the pot and see how people react.
You know, we think it's what she said last week.
I think it's one of the two. I mean, I'll tell you why. It's a last ditch effort to probably try to stir a pot and see what comes out of it. Because the thing is this, it's not done like this. It's not. I mean, you gotta understand, like, I think it's someone playing games because you gotta understand it's not done like this. Listen, you've done absolutely nothing wrong. I've done absolutely nothing wrong. And I think it's someone that may think they know something. So since they think they know something, they're trying to stir the pot. Hello?
Hola, Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Who's this?
Who's this?
Someone's been calling my family and trying to figure out who this is.
In reference to what, man?
Someone by the name of Sandy called.
Yeah, that's me, man.
What's going on?
Well, what's going on? My brother's Tato. Okay, my brother's Tato has not been taken care of. His family's not been taken care of. I talked to thankless Tato. Why are you calling me? Who are you? I gave the number to a lady.
I don't know Tato.
You don't know Tato? I'm not really know Katie and Tuco. They've been taken care of since the family's problem was taken care of up north.
I don't know.
You don't? Well, this is going away, my friend. Because let me tell you something. I was a driver with Tato, and he told me the whole story. He told me nobody was taking care of him, nobody was taking care of his family. The family was taking care of Katie and Tuco, and nothing's been taken care of Tato. So we know what's going on. And Tato needs to be taken care of. Do the right thing. The lady already heard the paperwork. She knows what I'm talking about.
Let's bring in our think tank. Family law attorney, law professor Randy Kessler, former law enforcement officer and host of Strong Enough podcast, Claudia King, and criminal defense attorney Josh Colesrud. Great to see everyone tonight. Hey, Randy, you think the Adelsons have those street smarts?
I think that might have just been a gift to the defense, because if I'm the defense lawyer, my closing is going to be, did they react like a guilty person? Maybe. Did they react like an innocent person? Maybe. You would react the same way if someone that has been in jail and is around all these criminals, these ex-felons, saying this guy's not taken care of, you better fess up, you better do this. If you're innocent, you still want to make that go away. So, I don't know if this wins the case for the prosecution.
Claudia, what do you think of the Adelsons and their reaction to the bump?
I think they do not have the street smarts that you've been talking about. And one thing I noticed that Donna said, where I think she kind of fell out of character for a moment, speaking with the undercover agent, she said, "I'm out of the loop." Not, "I have no idea what you're talking about," not, "What is this going on," not, "I'm calling the police," but "I'm out of the loop." To say, like, I'm not in this part of it, so you need to talk to somebody else.
All right, Josh Colesrud, what's the innocent explanation for a family where a former in-law, the father of these two little boys, was executed? Someone who says they're connected to the executioner is calling them and bumping into them, yet there is zero fear. There's no fear for their safety. What is going on here? Why is there no call to police? There's no, "Oh my goodness, someone's after us. Get the kids to safety."
Well, you have to remember that this street stunt by the government occurred about 2 years after the homicide. When a prosecutor or the government has a good case, they usually don't have to resort to theatrics. And here they created a fake scenario. And then when Donna doesn't react in the way that they would expect her to act in their fake scenario, they say that this is the smoking gun. I mean, come on, really. I mean, what do we know from this that we didn't know before? You know, we have this idea that there's a conspiracy, but the government is filling in all the holes and implying that there's some sinister motive for everything that they can't explain. And that was the purpose of today's testimony. You basically heard a narrator explaining what he thought the coded language was, when in reality, what you don't have is you have a mother who is concerned about her family. You also have a mother who thinks that her entire family is under the microscope. I mean, why would she go to law enforcement when she's obviously a suspect and so is everybody else?
Why are they going to a secret place here to meet, Randy?
Well,
why can't they just? Why do they have to? Why do they have to go by the marina to have this conversation? Why can't they speak on the phone? Why can't they speak at their apartment? Why can't they speak at the Adelson Institute?
That must mean she's a murderer. That must mean she's a murderer. She met in a secret place. You know, holy cow, that's your smoking gun, Vinny?
That's
I mean, talking about conspiracy, it didn't get for P. Diddy, did it? Conspiracy doesn't mean that after the crime, you get a bunch of phone calls and you stitch them together and you say the prosecution and the investigators called. Conspiracy means before the crime, they talked about it and they conspired and they organized a plan. They're trying to, after the fact, piece this together into a conspiracy. Conspiracy is a very hard way to get a conviction, as we saw in the P. Diddy case.
Well, that was a little different. P. Diddy was directly involved in some of those stunts, which the jury didn't believe was a crime. That's completely different. There is absolutely a crime here, Claudia King. Dan Markel is dead. He was executed in his driveway. The Latin King and Sigfredo had no reason to drive 400 miles up north to whack Dan. There was no incentive for that other than money. So, all right, we've got more to get to. Let's talk about paella and Harvey's birthday, the big 7-0. That's next.
When is your father, Harvey Adelson's birthday?
July 5.
Okay, so on July 5th of 2014, how old would he have turned that year?
70.
Okay, and this is about 2 to 3 weeks before Dan Markel was killed?
Yes.
Did your family do anything to celebrate his birthday that year?
Yes, we had a party at their condo.
What was on the menu?
We had paella.
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
There he is, Charlie Adelson, the convicted killer, talking about, I paid for the paella at my dad's party, the 70th. And I mean, never have there been so many phone calls and never has it been so complicated to order a paella chef for a party. Like so prosecutors believe that the paella and the surprise was code words and communications for the hit on Dan Markel. Let's take a listen to Charlie Adelson at his trial.
Was your dad's birthday in between the two trips that the killers took?
Yeah, my dad's birthday is July 5th.
And what birthday was that for him?
It was his 70th birthday party.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about the texting between you and your mom about the birthday. And she texts you on March 4th of 2014 and says she can't talk now, but she'll call when she goes to the bathroom in Gainesville and has privacy. She tells you to erase that text after you read it. Why did she have you erase that text?
Okay, if you look at the records, I never erased the text.
Well, why did she ask you? If you know, you may not know.
Maybe she's afraid my dad's looking at her phone and would find out about the present. It made no sense to me. That's why I was like, I didn't erase anything.
How is you erasing the text going to prevent your dad from seeing it on your mom's phone?
Well, if my dad looked at my mom's phone, then he'd see the text and maybe know what she's planning for his birthday.
You weren't with Dad, she was with Dad, just to clarify.
Yeah, she was with my dad.
And the text that she asked you to erase, that particular text didn't say anything about a birthday or paella. Can we agree on that?
No, not. But I knew what it was about.
20 minutes later, she texts again and asks something about Dad's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know we were trying to plan a surprise cruise. That was the original idea.
Okay, and the paella is mentioned elsewhere, not in this particular thread that we're talking about now.
Yeah, we ended up-
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
Then 3 months later, on June 8th, just after midnight, you text her, quote, still working on Dad's birthday present. Was that in reference to the paella guy?
Possibly, or possibly what I was also getting was a present. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I don't know exactly what I got him 10 years ago on his birthday.
And then at
what I was
1
thinking about.
a.m., I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, or what I was thinking about getting him.
And then at 1 a.m., Mom texts you back, I know you'll, and I think she was in Israel, so that may account for the time, but she texts you, quote, I know you'll come through for me. Is that what she said?
That's what the text said, yeah.
Can we agree the timing of these texts is consistent with being sent the day after the killers got home from their failed June murder trip?
No, it's consistent with a few weeks before my dad's birthday and trying to figure out what we're going to get him.
Claudia, this was very intense. Like, this is secret paella. Like, we don't want anyone to... Charlie, erase this text. Leave no trace of the paella anywhere, please. We don't know who's going to be looking at your phone.
We cannot have anybody find out about the paella. And I have to tell you, if my 70th birthday surprise is supposed to be a cruise and it turns into paella, I'm angry. I'm angry at everybody. So I just think this is ridiculous. And they're in Miami and you can't find the paella guy? Like, this seems ridiculous. It's not one little thing that they do. It's all these things put together that make it ridiculous and make it a conspiracy, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're turning this like search for the paella man into like a 7-part series, like a podcast, the paella podcast. Can we find someone who can make paella? But it's got to be the special kind of paella, Josh, the secret paella.
You know, it is the secret paella, and that was the word I was looking for, because in 18 years of being a criminal trial attorney, not once have I ever heard that paella was a code word for murder. But that's because it was a secret. So it all makes sense now. No, Vinny, you know, this is a perfect example of what we like to call confirmation bias, where you start with a conclusion and then you work your way backwards. So here you have law enforcement that starts with the conclusion that Donna is the mastermind of the conspiracy to murder her ex-son-in-law. Now, because they're working backwards and they don't have hard evidence, we already know that they had to manufacture a street drama. Now they're making up code secret words about fruit that nobody's ever heard of to try to weave in some conspiracy where she's, again, the mastermind. Look, Vinny, they don't have the goods here. You know, otherwise they wouldn't be doing this chicanery. I think the defense is really going to hammer this home on cross-examination.
Randy, is paella kosher?
No, it's got shrimp, it's got scallops, it's got all sorts of shellfish. But you know what? They're giving the defense, they're handing it on a silver platter. The paella is coming on a silver platter because they're going to stand up and say, that's the best they could do? Paella? They didn't have a smoking gun. They didn't have a confession. They had paella. You don't put somebody in jail for life because of paella, the paella theory.
All right, we'll give you some paella. I've got a side dish of Magbanoa. I got a little Rivera as an appetizer for you, Randy. I could take you over to Dolce Vita if you want some Italian food. We'll go to Dolce Vita. We got that. You know, you can pick each piece, you know, separately. Like, you take the shrimp out, you no longer have paella. But you put the shrimp in with everything else, you got the paella. And that's what prosecutors are doing.
You got to go Italian, huh, Vinny?
What's that?
You got to go Italian, right, Vinny?
Of course. Well, they were Dolce Vita. Claudia King, if someone is planning a murder, they generally or talking about the murder or are conspiring for a murder, they generally don't text each other, when are we going to whack them?
I mean, not in my experience. I've never seen that before. It would be great if they did. And maybe it is kind of what Josh was saying. It is so ridiculous. And maybe that's why they used it, because it is so ridiculous. And I think that they do fancy themselves this criminal family, and they've gotten away with it, you know, at that point, or, you know, up to several years. So, yeah, I think paella for the win.
We're out of time. Randy Kessler, Claudia King, Josh Colesrud, thank you so much. When we come back, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight. Plus, coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, Jake and Rebecca Harrow reported their baby Emmanuel abducted by a stranger. Now they're both charged with his murder. But are they equally responsible? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
Terrible. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The Matriarch Mastermind murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Body cam released. The body camera video from the Idaho student murders. We've got video of the first officer arriving at this horrific scene. Let's take a look.
Where's she at? Yep. Where's she at? Where's she at?
She's up closer. Yes, she's
Where at? Up here?
Up here. You gotta call and let them know that someone wasn't clear what was normal. And I just came in and checked in here and see what I just found. And I checked to see if she was breathing, and I didn't check her yet, but I'm pretty sure.
13. Okay, get back.
I don't know if they're still in here or not. I really just came in here. I grabbed the knife. They're like
1370. Okay, stay back there, please. Slow down. Just come here. There's two. Looks like fatalities.
Dude. All right, the part where the screen's going black, that's the redacted part. They don't want you to see what they saw inside that home. Well, there's a lot more of that video, and we are going to go through it and feature it tomorrow night on Vinnie Politan Investigates. So tomorrow night in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll take a look at the body camera video that's been released from the Idaho student murders. There's a lot more than what we just showed you. Those were the first moments of the first officer. We'll show you the rest of it tomorrow night. Right now, though, I need you to take a look at your television screens. We have a child who needs your help. This is Nolan Alexander Natoni, 14 years old, missing from Casa Grande in Arizona since the 20th. This is what you need to do. Take a look at the picture. If you see Nolan, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST. Or you can call the Casa Grande Police Department in Arizona. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Nolan to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.